It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts Tim
and LJ. Today and every week we will be talking musicals and specifically what they taught us.
Lauren, how have we made it to episode 10?
Can you believe it?
It's
10
insane.
Whole episodes.
I genuinely, when you asked me about this, I thought, okay, yeah, we'll do a couple. It'll be a couple. And that'll be it.
I know.
We're going to be run out of musicals soon.
No, we won't.
No, to be fair, we won't with the list we have.
No, yeah.
We could still be going in here. Are we going to take holidays and stuff?
What do you mean take holidays?
Well, I'm during the summer, are we going to keep them wanting more? Guys, we're taking a 3-week holiday. We'll be back.
I think the door would be beaten down if we took a 3-week holiday.
We're a partnership that never stops. We'll work through the year. Okay, fine,
yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I'll put a poll out and we'll see what people want. Do you want a break or not?
That was my subtle way of asking, are we getting a summer holiday? I think I know the answer now.
No. So, Timothy,
anyway,
I have a little surprise for you.
Okay, no, you know me, I can't do surprises.
Well,
the last surprise was Ovaltine. Now that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. And you've got your Ovaltine again, so
yeah.
We're keeping up this tradition. All good.
Yep.
No, I think you're really going to enjoy this surprise.
Okay.
So we're recording this slightly different tonight, so you probably have noticed that.
Yeah, so you're on the laptop, so already I'm a wee bit, dubious, is that the right word?
Yep, that's right.
As to what on earth is going on. I hope the audio is the same and people can hear us, Lauren.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
It'll be totally worth it.
Are you going to show me, a really embarrassing video of me or something?
No, not at all.
Right.
Would never want to embarrass you.
Okay.
But just bear with me 1 wee second here while I get this surprise ready. Okay?
My anxiety's through the roof.
Open your eyes.
Oh. Look at him.
Hello.
Oh.
It's Richard.
We can finally put a voice to the name.
Yep, we can indeed.
Yeah, he's a legend.
So, for all the listeners, the legend that is Richard, that has popped up on quite a few episodes right from the word go, has joined us on... What is this video? Video thing?
But don't say video, because then people want to see the video, and they're not going to see the video.
They're not seeing the video of me looking like this. Not a chance after a day's work. Not happening. Oh my goodness. Richard, how are you?
All good.
You're a huge musical theatre fan, though, aren't you? Anytime I see your socials, you've been out to some musical performance.
I don't know how I sort of got into sort of cheap tickets. It's like buying a little £13 seat, and if there's not a massive audience, then you can move and all that sort of thing.
Happy days. So you know what you're at. You know how to work the system, boy. Richard, do you want to explain to the... I can't believe you have Richard on this.
I know.
Wow. Our first guest, folks. Wow. Richard, do you want to explain to our listeners? Can you believe we have listeners that actually listen to us?
And I'm one of them.
And you're one of them. And you've supplied us with many, many a funny story since the beginning. Well, don't you be telling too much in this episode.
I know you too, basically. Basically, Lauren came in as a sugar-plum fairy for Wizard of Oz. I think, was that one of your first ones?
Yeah, that was my first one. And then
obviously, Timmy made his debut in a certain musical I think you're talking about tonight.
Yes, this week's musical, which is, after three, all of us, 1, 2, 3,
Bugsy Malone.
Can you imagine if I said something different? Like, Oklahoma!
No! Let's do that again. So, this week we're doing Bugsy Malone. So, Bugsy Malone is the unusual spiff of an old gangster movie, of the old gangster movies, in which the cast is made up entirely of children, sings and dances its way around Prohibition-era sets, substituting toy guns and whipped cream for machine guns and bullets. The gangster musical comedy film came first. Did you know that, Lauren?
I did, actually.
In 1976, and it was written and directed by Alan Parker, and it starred child actor Jodie Foster.
Mm-hmm.
And then they followed with a stage adaptation. You see, I'm all flustered now, the Richards one, which opened in the West End in 1983, featuring a certain Catherine Zeta-Jones in the role of Tallulah.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Sheridan Smith was a Tallulah.
That's right. The National Youth Music Theatre did all kids production of it, and it starred Sheridan Smith and Jamie Bell, who went on to then be Billy Elliot fame.
That's right.
Yeah. So the plot, it's set in New York City, and it's loosely based on the events of New York and Chicago, specifically the exploits of real-life gangsters, Al Capone and Bugs Morgan. So substitute them with Fat Sam and Dandy Dan's gang, throw in a charismatic leading man, Bugsy Malone, and a ballsy, no-nonsense aspiring singer and actress, Blousey Brown, and you've got Bugsy Malone, Lauren.
Love it. Oh, this is such a lovely musical. And again, probably a musical people are introduced to when they're kids.
Yeah. I think because the premise of it is it's an all-kid production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, well, and obviously, as Richard has said, we were in a production of Bugsy Malone. So can you remember what age you were, Timothy?
I was 5. It was the first ever thing I did on a stage.
Yeah, and it was my second because, as we know, I was at stage school first.
She loves to lord that over me. Like you've already mentioned that. Richard, what age were you?
3 of us, I was there before either of you.
You're an old man. What age were you when you did Bugsy?
Oh, I think it might have been 92, so I would have been 10. So it would have been my second or third.
Yeah.
Sort of big show. But it was, at the time, like, I think Lauren joined just as the stage school there was more and more kids joining the stage school. So by the time it got to Bugsy Malone, there were so many children.
That's
like
right.
Fat Sam's Grand Slam was literally just a packed stage of pink.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of kids. I remember feeling that going from Wizard of Oz to Bugsy Malone. Like, there's loads of people I'm on stage with lots. And I felt like there was more boys because Timothy obviously did join.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest. I was about 6 boys in one, really, with my talent and what I gave to the piece.
Yeah, that's right. That's
not just talent, but I cannot think of the word pure force. Because 5-year-old Timothy Bell knew what he wanted, and when he wanted it, it got done.
I haven't changed, Richard. I haven't changed.
Love it. Well, we're going to move on to some musical lyrical lingos. So I will go first. So musical lyrical lingos, as you know, Richard, from listening, is either what the musical has taught us or from a lyric within a few of the songs or a song. So I learnt...
These will be really good because we were so young.
Yeah, well, I thought that, but what I didn't realise was there's not very many songs. And I think because we did it whenever we were younger, I felt like there was loads and loads of songs.
Yeah. And do you not think revisiting it as an adult, the songs are actually a bit pants? They're a bit rubbish.
Oh, I don't think
you
that.
Still have a love for the Bugsy. Yeah, you see, I remember loving them at the time. And now that I listen to it, I'm like, oh... Really?
Okay.
Finale itself, that song,
give it a little love and it all comes back to everyone. La 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 la.
Oh, we harmonised there. That was lovely.
Always.
Anyway, my musical lyrical lingos. So we have, I didn't know what a city slicker was. Need to be careful with that. City slicker. Just a sophisticated person.
Sophisticated person is a city slicker.
Yeah.
He's a, what line's that in? City slicker, candy.
That's
one of that when they're talking about Bugsy Malone.
Yeah.
So they're saying he's a city slicker.
Yeah.
Sophisticated. With
like values. And then I learned about Tommy guns.
Ah, yeah.
Obviously at age 5, I wasn't really aware of Tommy guns, but Tommy guns are called Tommy guns because they were the Thompson submachine gun.
Oh.
And the creator was John T. Thompson, who invented it in America in 1918. The gun was actually invented for World War I, but it wasn't used until after the war.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
Learned that wee bit.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
See, that's why you listen to this podcast, isn't it, Richard? Like, you must learn so much.
Yeah.
And then I learned the word malicious always from Bugsy Malone, because obviously at age 5 that word malicious is quite a big word, and it's in the song Bad Guys.
Malicious and bad.
That's it. So anytime I write the word malicious or hear the word malicious, I just then start humming Bad Guys.
Very malicious means
like nasty, not nice, you know.
Nasty. And to be honest, like none of Fat Sam's guys who sing Bad Guys are malicious. That's the thing. It's just a love fest, isn't it? Even though they're playing gangsters and they're out to get each other, it's just all about love.
Yeah, it's a cute musical.
It is. Okay, it's really cute, and it's really cute seeing kids perform it. Like, it gives it a real good feel good factor. I learnt my musical lyrical lingos are, I didn't know what a speakeasy was.
Okay.
So that's in the Fat Sam Grand Slam number. Yep. So Fat Sam's one of the gangsters, and he owns a speakeasy, which is where you and your lovely pink costumes were in dancing. And I was on the side
slapping your knee.
We'll get to that later. Richard's now doing the choreography on the video for those viewers that actually can't see. But it's very entertaining.
Dancing.
Do you know that speakeasies were also sometimes known as a blind pig or a blind tiger?
No.
I know. Yeah, so they were illicit establishments that sold alcoholic beverages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because obviously they weren't allowed.
No, that's right. So speakeasy bars came into prominence in the US during the Prohibition era of 1920 to 1933. During that time, the sale, manufacture, or transportation of alcoholic beverages was illegal.
Yep. Yeah. There you go.
I'd be very sad if I lived during that era.
Oh, gosh, how would we cope?
I know. Love a wee glass of wine. A wee gin.
A wee glass of Chablis. Wee Kylie wine. I always say I'm having a wee Kylie wine.
Do you know what I also learned?
What?
It was the first time I ever heard or was introduced to the great, wonderful Fred Astaire.
No way.
Yeah. So in the number Tomorrow, which Fizzy sings, and Fizzy basically works in the speakeasy as a cleaner, but he has ideas of like becoming a dancer. And in his song, he sings, "They are bound to compare me to Fred Astaire when I'm done." Again,
Did not know those lyrics because I was not aware.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think there's a thing with Bugsy Malone and lyrics on not singing the right ones. I think we might get onto that later because I have a few memories of some that were just made up.
Okay.
Also in Tallulah's number, and she was like Fat Sam's girlfriend, but she was the main act in the speakeasy, wasn't she? She, I didn't understand this turn of phrase in her song, Tallulah. She says, "My name is Tallulah, my first rule of thumb." Yeah. And I didn't know what that meant, what the first rule of thumb meant. Right. And obviously as adults, we know it's like a guideline. Yeah. Or, or a principle to help you make decisions. But I didn't know what the first rule of thumb was. Love it. And her first rule of thumb was, do you remember? "My name is Tallulah, my first rule of thumb.
Don't know where I'm going or where I'm coming from."
Don't say where I'm going or where I'm coming from.
Say.
Clever girl. We should all live by that. Say nothing.
Very good.
Richard,
do you have any?
I am so unprepared. I haven't killed.
What?
I know, this is awful. I've been having about this all day. I've not done any planning at all.
Well, how about...
Sounds like us.
You tell us what you love about the musical.
Just something about the characters and the way... Like, there's something about like the way Blousey sings her song, and just like you feel those emotions, even though they're children. You're like, they're so grown up in a way, and I just love the songs, and I love the movie is one of my favourite films ever. But there's just so much about the musical that I love, and it holds so many. Obviously, because of doing it, I think of it really fondly. And like there's certain elements of it that I always think about where I'm like, I loved doing that. Because I was obviously a bit like Blood Brothers. I played a lot of little bit parts, and all the little bit parts I played were the people who died. So I was the guy at the beginning who gets splurged. I can't think of his name.
So you were killed off in the one show about 7 times?
Yeah.
Richard, you must have been living your best life then, because you got splurged or got custard pies in your face quite a lot, didn't you?
Oh. Custard pies, and I loved, wish I could remember, I think it was Alex's dad, possibly, or I could be very wrong. It was either Alex's dad or George Brown that came up with the design for our splurge guns, and to this day I still think they're one of the best props I've ever seen, that was made by just one of the dads of the stage school, but it was the Tommy gun shape with the canister of silly string that clicked into the front. Yeah. So that's what we got splurged with silly string. And just the design of that was fantastic. And I've seen...
It really was. It really was. The reason Timothy's bringing that up is because of me.
Yeah, so I also got pied in the face multiple times in Bugsy Malone. But Lauren, how many times did you get pied in the face?
None. Never. I always wanted a pie in my face.
And listeners, she's totally
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, I remember as a 5-year-old really, really, really thinking on the last night, somebody will know that they haven't pied me, and I still never got it.
I'm livid. I should have been much more prepared and had a custard pie hidden away to pie you tonight.
You should have.
I remember that they had to be really, I can't remember what it was that was in the custard pies, but they had to be really, really careful with those because it stained your costume if you got it on your costume.
Oh,
so I remember having to be really careful because I was in like a black coat at the end, and I remember having to be really careful with where it landed in case it stained because Mum would have had to wash the suit.
Yeah, and I did it a couple of years ago as a youth project, and on the 2-show Saturday, we had said that they needed to be extra careful about where the pie was going.
Okay.
Because the blazers and the suits needed to be A-okay for the second show.
Ah.
It was also a tripping and a health hazard nightmare, wasn't it? Like, not to slip.
I'm sure there's at least 2 or 3 speakeasy girls that went off that stage, like off the side at the end, just like,
But sure, wasn't it? That was all part of it.
God, yeah. Oh, I'm terrible. I'm a terrible giggler anyway, so anything like that, and I would have just been gone. Me and her sister, if we got the giggles, my lord, there was no bringing us back at all.
Yeah, you're the worst giggler I know.
I work obviously in retail, and see if a child gets hit in the face with anything, like we have these security bars, and if it hits a child, I'm terrible. I have to go and stand in the kiosk, like the back of the kiosk, because I'm laughing at children getting hit in the face. I'm awful.
Oh dear.
Do you know what, Richard? I'm so glad nothing ever changes, though.
No.
If we heard if you no longer had a giggle, we'd be very upset and concerned. Yeah. Our memories of
This is the point where you can tell your story.
Okay, this is where I get really...
I don't know if Timothy remembers that.
No.
But obviously, what I said earlier on about 5-year-old Timothy was a force of nature, and when he wanted something, and if he didn't get it, my lord, all hell broke loose. And we'd had to be, obviously, because there was only like 4 or 5 boys in it, we'd had to be the security guards of the Splurge gun factory. And I think your mum had designed the jumpers, which had like the numbers sewn onto them. I can't remember what the numbers sewn onto these jumpers.
Weren't we like baseball players? Like we had baseball bats in our hand and like we
but my mum had managed to get hold of ice hockey gear for kids. So we had these ice hockey bits attached to us.
Yeah.
And after that, I think we had such a quick change before Fat Sam's Grand Slam, or You Give a Little Love, whatever the next song was. We had such a fast change, but our dressing room really luckily was right sort of by the steps, because obviously as lads we were just shoved into the male toilet or somewhere.
The number of times in our day that we got changed in a toilet, Richard, eh?
Not even a toilet. There was one where it was a cordoned off corridor with medical screens. I think that was actually possibly Peter Pan.
Yeah.
I have vague memories of having experienced in the Captain Hook. What was that?
Yeah, I'm saying we were playing leads and we were put down the corridor with
I think we were. I mean, honest to God, would you have put Derek Jacobi in a corridor in a medical school? Didn't they know who we were? I mean, honestly, Ian McKellen, could you imagine it? Just having to shimmy down in a toilet. But anyway, back to the story. And we had basically had to bolt. We'd had to chase Bugsy, or what's the one that Bugsy chats to?
Is it Leroy?
The young lad. Martin Gray played him, I think. We'd had to chase him. And then, so we essentially ran through these double doors into the changing room. And the change was so fast, my mum was having to help us. I can't remember if she was the only one helping us to get out of the house, because the hockey gear was a nightmare to get out of. And Timothy started shouting at my mother, "Get these pieces of costume off me." But there was words flying in there that a 5-year-old should not have been using.
As a 5-year-old? No, surely not.
Yes. There was, my mum loves telling this story, honestly. And I think it got to the point where my mum turned round to Timothy and said, "If you do not mind your language, I'm going to stick your head down the toilet."
Well, then, do you know what? Your mum must have taught me, because I hardly ever swear. Like, I have to be really stressed to let a bad word out.
Oh, you walked into that room and it was get this effort, all over the place.
I rebuke that. Rebuke. I disagree. You stitched me up rightly. This me too.
Oh, I love it.
The diva had entered the room and she was not to be forgotten.
Okay, I'm going home. All right, all the best to you.
Do you know what and I don't know why I always remember this, and I don't know if you remember Brookside at the time, the soap.
Yeah.
The week we were doing Bugsy Malone was the same week as a massive storyline on Brookside. I remember all the adults backstage being like, "Did you watch Brookside last night? She killed him. Buried him in the patio." That's all I remember of that week, is everybody talking about Brookside while we're all running around being like, "That's Sam's Grand Slam."
I love it, because that is like community theatre, that is Amdram, is that so many people are helping out backstage, and it's all those wee memories, as we spoke about in a couple of episodes ago, about everybody else's stories. It's those things that you remember, which would then maybe associate with the musicals. That's so funny that people were talking about.
So many little pockets of like I remember like Sarah Jane and a few of the others going off and doing that photo shoot with the car.
Yeah,
right.
Like the picture, like it felt like there was, like we always did stuff that would have ended up in The Spectator, but there was something about Bugsy Malone that felt really different, and it felt really exciting at the time, where we were just all so excited to be doing this show that had like kids as the baddies and sort of thing, and the kids were the focus of it. Whereas it had always sort of been like a panto or something, but this was the first thing I remember doing that was a show that was an actual musical. And had like actual like characters that were written, if you know what I mean, not just sort of put together.
Yeah, and I think as a piece, it's like so open that it involves so many different people. Every child has their moment, Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a show like Bugsy. And as you say, like, there was multiple wee bits you had to do throughout. Like, I remember, one of my memories is, like, 1 minute I was, like, clapping along in Fat Sam's Grand Slam out of time. The next thing there's, like, an audition sequence, isn't there, where they're auditioning.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I had to, like, I was, like, telling really stupid jokes, like, Dwayne, the Beth, I'm drowning. And then the next minute, I'm a paper boy, like, running down the aisle going, read all about it. Like, you just didn't stop. It was like, go, go, go. And you felt really involved in it. Like, it was just fun from start to finish.
It was
Talking
fun.
about the audition scene, the movie features a very, very young Bonnie Langford, which blows my mind every time.
Wow, I'll have to rewatch it then. I haven't watched it in years. I love her. I love Bonnie.
She's the part that Sarah Jane played.
Yes. So I think you're right that there did seem something special about Bugsy, and I think it was that stage school was growing at the time, but also when you spoke about the Tommy guns, everything just, the set was great, the costumes were really good, you know, everybody was being involved, and it was just like a load of fun. But the audition scene in particular was a bit of fun in stage school too. Like, we would have like done it on the side of the stage, and that was the first time I sort of remember being involved with loads of people. I do remember Sarah Jane getting shouted at and the part nearly getting taken off her. So she would have been the same age as me, 5, which is really hard.
Yeah.
That's it. And also for a while, I wasn't able to differentiate between Sarah Jane and the part. I thought that that's what she was like in real life.
You're Sarah Jane.
That was Karen Deaver.
No, that was me.
My costume was like a suit for a child. But back then it wasn't that easy. Like, my mum had to buy an adult suit that she had to take to a woman to actually have it, like, brought in to fit me as a 10-year-old. Like, and I still have that somewhere. Goodness knows where it is, because I found a load of stuff today during a clear out, which I sent Lauren pictures of. I found my Godspell costume.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Love it.
That's right. You were in Godspell with it. You've been in so many shows with us, Richard. Yeah. What's your favourite one?
I'd say Bugsy for, like, there's probably a few. So Bugsy, because obviously it was the first big stage school one. Peter Pan, because that was the first time I'd played, like, a massive lead part.
Yeah.
And then, like, I loved the upstage down stage ones, because I think you had some people from stage school, but then you had new people. Yeah. So, like, getting to do Godspell and Anything Goes is one of my all-time favourite shows, and I auditioned to be in a production of that when I was 9 and didn't get in. So getting to then do it with upside down stage, I was just like, oh, I'm getting to do my show.
Aww, that's cute.
Very good. Do you have any memories of Bugsy, Lauren? So
apart from not getting a pie in my face,
she's still talking about it.
One of my clear memories, it does involve Timothy too. So I've mentioned about Sarah Jane, the audition parts, I always remember that. And Timothy was so enthusiastic with slapping his leg.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I have never seen a child slap his leg the way this little boy slapped.
Let me tell you, Lauren.
There's actually, if you go through my photographs, there is actually a picture of Timothy slapping his leg. I'm sure there is. It has to be.
No doubt, it would have been hard to miss. Put it this way, when you're on stage with goodness knows how many wee girls dressed in pink, you got to stand out one way or another. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted all the attention to be on me.
That certainly was. And then another memory, which involves Timothy, is we used to have Tony Brown used to come back and do the ballot at the end on the last night. Yeah. And I've watched our version of Bugsy Malone like loads and loads and loads of times.
Is there a version? Is there a video?
Yeah, there's a video of it.
Oh, stop it.
And Tony comes out and does the ballot, but Mr. Timothy thinks he's the funniest man ever. And every time, now Tony is a very funny man, every time Tony reads out something and sort of makes a joke with the audience, this one is laughing and, oh gosh, the dramatics.
I can actually now see it in my head. I can completely see Timothy like...
Oh my goodness.
That is it.
In the background, I can completely see it.
I'm so glad that I've mellowed with age.
Yeah, it is. It's so funny, the little things that like stick out in your mind, but that's it. And then a big thing with Bugsy Malone is just us all at the end doing that finale number. And loving that and just feeling that it was really exciting and cute.
That last number is a special number for, especially with kids. Like, it's called Give a Little Love, and it's just about being there for each other. And I think things like that were what made Stage Go really special. I also remember in Stage Go, do you remember we always used to have a wee song that we sang at the end of every Saturday? Like, at the end of and it was just like, it just like glued the group together and made us like one big family. I think that's
I always remember that.
The memories.
And it's really weird. I still remember Sharon would do like the relax thing on like certain mornings, and she'd have that story where you lay down and you imagine the sun going through your body. And even now, if I'm having like a bad day, I'll sit and I'll try and do that again. I'll sit and imagine the sun starting at my head and going down and getting to like my fingers. And it's really weird, like the little things you remember that you take forward with you from Stage Go.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
I think it's bound to be one of the hardest, like, youth shows to do, though. Like, I think it's harder than an Oliver or an Annie because all of the scenes are so short, and like you're literally into one scene, and then you've moved to another scene, and they're all in different locations. Like, I remember more recently being involved in the creative side of a Bugsy Malone, and it was really hard work because there's no real, like, I mean, let's be honest, it's quite a shallow, like, plot line. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it moves really quickly from A to B to C to D. And I just remember going, this is a nice, absolute nightmare. So the fact we pulled it off. I think that's where
our one sort of really was good in that. I can't remember who designed the staging, but obviously you had the main Fat Sam's, but then they had, was it Dandy Dan's office was at one side and Fat Sam's office was at the other, and you had the telephone booth down on the floor. So it meant that it didn't mean it had to be wheeled on and stuff. But I do remember saying to Sharon, one of my visits back, because she was thinking about what to do like next year, and I was like, oh, why don't you do Bugsy Malone? And when I said that, she was like, are you trying to kill me? That's showing you to kill me.
I get that comment because it is a nightmare to do.
And I suppose when it's only whenever you are involved from a different side, you realise how much work goes into certain musicals. There's some musicals which, you know, are just on in one scene and it's just the people coming in and out, and that's fine. And you can have 50 or you can have 5 people, it doesn't matter. But whenever you've got, say, a musical that doesn't have a very deep and meaningful plot with, you know, intense moments as such, then it needs to be, I don't know, give more depth to it with movement. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. And then the lyrics. Do you remember that song, Down, 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 which is the most boring song in the history of musical theatre because it just goes down, 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 until you get to the verses where it goes, you don't have to sit around, and the verses, none of us had a clue because we just went, you don't have to sit around.
Yeah. He's trying to sing a verse. I'm trying to sing down. What's going on?
Yeah, indeed. Well, I have had loads and loads of fun reminiscing. Richard, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus, Richard, with my diva tendencies.
I'm sure there's many buses that I could be thrown under. I mean, honestly.
I could think of a few, but none for this podcast.
No. Would it be a wee Ulster bus? Would it be?
Here, before we go, I had a little surprise of my own before you sprung Richard on me.
Oh,
so
I love it.
I had decided a couple of episodes ago Lauren likes to surprise me on these podcasts, Richard, right?
Like to be in control.
No, yes, very much so. Now,
I mean, Ovaltine ASMR was not what I expected a few weeks back.
Well, this is the thing. She springs things like that.
Surprise everybody go.
And then you decided to give me a quiz the other week. Was it Beetlejuice week? You gave me a quiz and I was like, what? A quiz? So I decided to come prepared myself with my own. I have a Bugsy Malone quiz.
Oh,
now,
Richard, will you stay and do the Bugsy? Yeah, okay.
So here are the rules. I'm going to call out the question and you've got to say your name. The person who says their name first, I will let them answer the question. Is that clear?
Okay.
No breaking the rules, Richard.
Look, I'm doing thumbs up, which people can't see.
Yes. But you understand. Okay, so here we go. Question 1. How do you enter Fat Sam's Grand Slam?
Lauren.
Go ahead, Lauren.
A knock.
On what?
A picture?
Nope.
Oh.
Richard?
Oh, it's a bookcase.
Well done, Richard. No? You knock on the bookcase. Well done. Number 2. 1 point to Richard. Am I taking score?
I'll take score.
Right. Oh, look, she's raging already. The loser gets a cream pie in the face. Right. Number 2. When eating hot dogs, what does Blousey have on her hot dog in the stage musical?
Lauren, mustard.
Can you add to it? The options I have 2 things. Mustard.
And onions.
Mustard with onions.
Is that right?
I don't know. And I clearly need to wait until the end. I think it might be right. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
Mustard with onions, I think. Or is it not without? We'll soon find out. Number 3. What kind of establishment does KG Joe run?
Richard.
Go ahead, Richard.
Boxing.
Boxing club. Well done. Number 4. Who helps Blousey? Who helps Bugsy when he's mugged?
Lauren. Blousey.
Sorry, I mucked that one up a bit, didn't I? What's her surname?
Brown.
Well done. Number 5. Which of these couples are not romantically linked during the show? A. Dandy Dan and Luella. B. Bugsy Malone and Blousey Brown. C. Fizzy and Miss Bangles. Or D. Fat Sam and Tallulah. Which couple is not... Yep.
C?
Yeah, Fizzy and Miss Bangles, correct. Well done, Richard. Number 6. Finish the line of the song.
Oh, no.
Do you want me to sing it?
Yeah, go for it.
He's a sinner, candy, blank.
Lauren.
Go ahead.
Coated.
Candy coated.
Yes.
Well done, Lauren. True or false? Leroy succeeds in his training as a boxer. Yes or no? True or false? Leroy succeeds in his training as a boxer. Yes, Richard? I mean, it's 50-50.
True.
True. Well done.
True.
Yes. Good. Number 8. There's only 10. You'll be devastated to know. Who do Bugsy and Leroy form an army with? Is it A, the Down and Outs, B, the Navy, C, the Up and Outs, or D, the Army?
Lauren.
Richard's too busy laughing.
The Down and Outs?
Yeah, down. If you didn't get that.
It's the B, Navy. Is what set me off.
In the Navy, we will sail the 7 seas. Richard's dancing again for all the listeners. Question number 9. What does Blousey carry in her bag for protection?
Lauren, pepper spray.
Nope.
Oh,
Richard?
No.
The pepper spray's completely through me.
In the Prohibition era? Pepper spray?
Oh, it's a bat.
It's a baseball bat.
Oh.
Remember, Bugsy's like, do you always carry a bat? It's for my protection.
Yeah.
Okay, and question number 10. I think this is a hard one. Which two nationalities are Bugsy's parents? A, Italian and French. B, Irish and Italian. C, Irish and French. Or D, French and Scottish.
Richard.
Yeah.
B?
Yeah, Irish and Italian. Irish mother and an Italian father, isn't that right? Submit my answers. I need to submit my answers just to see. What was the one? Number 2, we were questioning what does Blousy eat on our hot dogs? Well done, you're right. Mustard with onions, Lauren. So what's the scores on the doors?
Richard with 5 and Lauren with 4.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, Timmy, no.
Now I need a custard pie.
Imagine if literally on right now you just splurged her right in the face with a custard pie. I think I would actually lose my mind.
I'm so annoyed with myself that I didn't have that ready to go.
I know.
So cross. But anyway. Oh, Richard, this has been lovely. I'm so glad that you stopped on the stories that you stopped on, because I know you've got plenty of other stories about me, but we'll save them for another day because they're even more embarrassing than my diva tendencies at the tender age of 5.
The Shirley Bassey was free.
Okay. Lovely to see you, Richard. All the best.
Richard, thank you so much.
Oh, Richard, it's been a blast.
And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I mean, I had no say in it. If I had my way. It's been really lovely to see you. Look after yourself.
And you.
Oh,
bye.
Bye. Do we throw him off the chat now?
Yeah.
Oh. Annie's gone. Thank goodness for that. Oh my goodness. Right, Lauren, you and me need to have chats.
Well, was that not just a nice way to remember your diva moments?
But you know what? Genuinely, I don't remember being like that as a 5-year-old.
No, but you probably were told that it was a quick change and you needed to be backstage, or back on stage really, really quickly. So you probably just had that in your mind.
True. And you know where I think I probably learned the language from?
Who?
Richard, because he had a potty mouth like.
Yeah, that's probably the part that he didn't say. He probably was saying it to his mum and then you copied.
See how that part of the story clearly left off? And it's only now clicking with me now that we've booted him off. Anyway, please don't judge me poorly, listeners. I am a really lovely adult. Promise. Oh, that was really fun.
Yeah, that was. I promise you that's the last time I will massively surprise you like that.
Do you know what? That has cheered the episode up, because as an adult, I'm not the biggest fan of Bugsy.
Yeah, so I thought it would have just been nice because it was such a huge part of it was your first show.
Massive, huge in my life.
Mobsters. It's how I really was first introduced to you.
Yeah.
And I just thought it would be a nice way to reminisce with somebody that would have had a few stories. So.
You're right, actually. It was the beginning of us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to cry now. I'm getting a wee bit weepy.
Oh, that's lovely.
It really is. And I'll say it again. I have mentioned it in previous podcasts, but you did look really cute in your little pink outfit and your huge giant glasses.
I know. I must
fashion, eh?
Must see what pictures I can get. There's definitely video footage, but whether or not we can get that updated.
No, I have been embarrassed enough. This week, we're not putting any video footage out. Definitely not.
Well, everybody needs to see you slapping your leg.
Yeehaw. Absolutely. Yes, you're right. Everybody does need to see that, actually.
Oh, well, that was so much fun.
It was brilliant. Well, on to next week. Next week is a wee bit of a different one again.
Yes.
Hopefully no surprises.
No.
However, we've just talked about how Bugsy was the beginning of our partnership and our friendship and our kind of double act, many people might say.
Yeah,
so
true.
Next week, we're going to be talking about our dream double acts. That is double acts that are in musicals, characters that kind of have like a bond.
I thought you meant like James Bond. I was like,
no,
musicals
like
have
Bond, the other Bond.
Yes.
And then we're also going to be talking about a few of our double acts, characters or double acts that we would love to portray.
Yeah, like
ourselves.
Our dream roles.
Dream double acts, yeah.
If we were to go back on stage and perform as a double act, what shows would we perform in?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I can't wait. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be
fun.
And
I think we shouldn't talk about any of it and just come back and see if we come up with the same dream double acts.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, sounds good. So until next week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.